Rio's boat was strewn with fishing nets and tackle. I was quite happy where I was, relatively speaking. It was Rio waiting patiently in his fishing boat.
That Emily sure asks a lot of questions.
Rest man, this whole Emily business just isn't funny.
Look, we're obviously at cross purposes here. I'm talking about Emily Ketch.
Yeah, and so am I. She was my friend. Her aunts hated it, but we did move together, you know. She used to be real keen at hide and seek. It could take hours to find her. One time, the last time, it took days. She must have shouted and screamed herself hoarse, but there was nobody to hear her.
Where'd she hidden herself?
Captain Ketch's old sea chest. The only way to open it was from the outside.
Suddenly, I didn't feel so good. We never exchanged another word about Emily Ketch. There was nothing else I wanted to ask the boy.
No, it can't be.
But it was. My lucky piece of coal.
Rio, how far away is Ketch's Landing from here?
Best part of 10 miles. Why?
10 miles?
That catapult must have been a lot more powerful than I thought.
It was my lucky piece of coal. The cliff stopped me getting off the beach. The cliff was steep, too steep to climb without handholds. And I couldn't find any.
There was nothing else I wanted to...
I was quite happy where I was, relatively speaking. It was Bronson's Theodolite. No, I had to think. That was... wrong. Nope. The outcrop was about the only feature on the cliff face. It was too high. I couldn't get up there. Could I borrow your net?
Yeah, man, no problem. You planning on catching some fish?
Nope. I'm after a big rock. It was Rio's fishing net. The warm Caribbean. The sea looked inviting, but I was here to do a job. Well, here I go. Wish me luck, Rio.
Good luck, George. Watch out for the Walking Dead.
I stumbled down dark stairwells for what seemed like forever, until suddenly I found myself, wow, in an abandoned London Underground station. This place must have been closed down decades ago. LBS Lubes? What are lubes? The machine wasn't about to weigh me for nothing. It was an old chocolate vending machine. It was a cup which caught rejected coins. A flap covered the tray into which the machine dispensed chocolate bars. The machine needed to be fed a coin before it would operate. The cup was empty. The tray was empty. It was an old ticket machine. A sign read, "Tickets 3D." The machine looked like it had sold its last ticket a long time ago. The poster was advertising a play I'd never heard of. The date on the poster was before I was born. It was a maintenance cupboard. A latch lock stopped me getting into the cupboard. It was an old map of the London Underground. It looked just like the modern one. The train signal light still worked. A warning sign saying high voltage convinced me to leave the lights alone. It was the tunnel the train had come out of. It was too dangerous to start walking along the tracks. I remembered what always happened to Wile E. Coyote when he did that. The blade of the dagger just fitted between the door and the soft wood frame. The door gave slightly and then held firm. A small crack had appeared where the dagger had pried the door from its frame. Through the crack, I could just make out the latch which stopped the door from opening. My fingers were too big to reach into the tiny crack. The hair grip was too thick to fit into the crack. The blade of the dagger was too thick to get into the narrow crack. The date on the poster It was a poster advertising holidays in Scotland. It might have been a nice souvenir if it hadn't been torn and dirty. A pile of old railway sleepers was blocking the platform. I'd probably break my neck if I climbed over the sleepers, or worse, a heel. There was no point in going back up there. A warning sign saying high voltage convinced me to leave the lights alone. One D only was embossed below the coin slot. Something protruded slightly from the slot. The slot was much too thin for my fingers. I pushed the hair clip into the slot and whatever was stuck there disappeared into the machine. I pulled out an old English penny. It was an old English penny coin. On one side was Britannia, managing to look both virginal and matronly. On the other was the head of King George VI, looking much the same. An ancient bar of chocolate dropped into the tray at the bottom of the machine. And as a special bonus, the penny dropped through to the reject pocket. I pulled out an old English penny. I took the ancient bar of chocolate. It was a very old bar of chocolate with a row of boys pictured on the wrapper. The penny was too large to fit into the slot. The blade was too thick. I didn't want to get the hair grip jammed in the slot. LBF. I put the old penny into the slot, the needle twitched rustily and the machine spat out a card. The weight was in imperial units. It meant nothing to me. The card also had my fortune on it. A family quarrel will turn out to your advantage. I remembered my student days when I regularly forgot my house keys. A wiggle with the thick card between the frame and the lock, and the latch lifted. It was a big, red, ever so tempting button. The train was my ride out of there. I could worry about not having a ticket when I got to the docks.
The path was blocked by an ugly and extremely dangerous-looking boar. The boar's expression said, "Forget it, Stobart." It was a stout, overhanging branch. If I jumped, I could just about reach the branch. Climbing the tree wasn't going to help any in this situation. A clump of reeds grew out of the stinking swamp. It was a stagnant swamp. Nothing, I mean nothing, would possess me to step into that swamp. It was a short, hollow reed. There was something in that hole beneath the rock. As soon as I stooped to investigate the hole, its inhabitant disappeared into the darkness. The end of the reed had been neatly bitten off. Now I knew what was living in there. A long-toothed, snarling, furry wild thing. The reed was a lot shorter since that creature had savaged it. Stay cool, Stobart. It was only a bird. Hold on. I've been here before. Haven't I? Initials had been carved into the rock. Initials carved into the stone read F.K. Frederick Ketch had been here. 3 shallow holes had been made in the rock. Joining the dots would make an equilateral triangle. The hill I was on had reminded me of a camel's hump as I'd climbed up it. Now I had to see what I could see.